A lot to talk about today in the Western Pacific. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. We have a tropical depression now, Sepat, just off the coastline of mainland Honshu, just right off of Tokyo, in fact, not having any big impacts. Talk about that in just a second. Tropical depression 03W making landfall just over Hainan, and the rainy season front creating some of the worst flooding in 3 decades in parts of Guizhou province, and 97W, the next big storm to impact the Western Pacific and likely going to enhance that habaga across parts of the Philippines, especially the west coast. We're talking about Palawan, Manila, west coast of Luzon. You're all going to be looking at inflow as we go ahead into next week. So once again, let's break this down and get into it, starting off with, well, of course, that flooding that's been taking place here into eastern areas, southeastern areas of China. In fact, look at this imagery. This is out of Guizhou, where we had the worst flooding in 30 years, which, by the way, kind of breaks my heart, the geopolitical nature of the area and so much hate for people that probably just live in their everyday lives. Nothing to do with the the Communist Party, I should say. But they have to recover. Their businesses, homes have all been devastated by this catastrophic flooding they've been seeing out there. Thankfully, that is backing off a bit. That same front that brought that heavy rainfall there to eastern China is still kind of there. I mean, it's the Mayu Bayo front. It's the rainy front. It's not going anywhere fast. But it also is absorbing up tropical depression Sepat. And yeah, if you are in Tokyo or Chiba Prefecture, this is Sepat. It is right off the coastline. It can be confusing to some people that may not know Japanese because they call everything typhoon, which is short for typhoon. It's just the Japanese language. It means it's like a tropical cyclone. So you might hear on the news there's a typhoon. There's not at all. This has winds of 25 knots. All advisories have been canceled on this. I mean, we look at the radar. Goodness gracious. You put yourself in the middle of this and you'd be like, all right, where's the storm? So that's moving out to sea. No worries there. We also have a tropical depression located off of Hainan we're keeping an eye on. That's coming on shore, and that's right around Haikou. Remember, that area was hit hard by Typhoon Wu-Tip. Now that's moving on shore, and big issue with that is still going to be that inflow of moisture kind of coming in on the backside of it for maybe not even Hong Kong, but just along our coastal areas of Guangdong province. But I think the big thing I'm watching is still the inflow from what likely is going to be our next tropical depression out here. It is currently Invest 97W, located towards the east of the Philippines. And this area is the one that, if I was concerned about any area causing some major flooding or damage, it's this one. The long-range guidance continues to show a significant tropical system developing, albeit there is still no concrete agreement between weather models about where exactly this would go. Some take it over towards Taiwan, some off towards Japan. Both scenarios and all scenarios show this area developing and enhancing that habaga, or that inflow coming in from the west as we go ahead, especially into next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, I mean, if you're out here in Manila, Pangasinan, Mindoro, all the way down towards Visayas, that's where you're going to be seeing some of the heaviest of this rainfall in either scenario through next week, where some totals could be as much as 50 to maybe even 200 millimeters due to accumulated precipitation, which, once again, we saw flooding in Manila last week. We still could be seeing that. The floodwaters could be rising fast, especially in poor drainage areas, despite the fact I know we went through a big reconstruction effort with flood control. It's still, millions of people living in a small area. Even with the best and most dedicated flood control, you're still, in short time heavy rain, it's going to have a hard time backing it up. It just, you need grass, you need soil to soak up the water. You just don't have that really all across the NCR. So, yeah, just be ready for that threat of flooding, and I would just stay out of that water because that stuff is bacteria just coated when it backs up in some of those sewers out here. So heavy rainfall still in the forecast for the west coast of the Philippines as we look ahead through next week due to the development of this potential next tropical system. And while I have our Patreon members on the screen, I'm going to jump over and just show you the comparison between the GFS and the European model. Now, this is using Windy here, give you that broader view. And by the way, you've seen right there, big shout out to all our Patreon members who continue to support this channel. But let's look ahead. We're going to go ahead to the 30th. How about to the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, right here, over towards the 4th and the 5th. The ECMWF kind of backing off on this storm system, forming up intensely But if you go over to the GFS, and let's go back to the 30th over to the 1st, you can see it tries to develop this over towards our north and east of the Mariana Islands, all the while even trying to spin up a secondary low there towards the west of Luzon. But in either scenario, we're still seeing that enhanced monsoonal flow. Now, I typically tend to lean towards, ooh my, what button did I hit right there to do that? I typically tend, I don't know what I did. I clicked like a left click button. I tend to lean to the ECMWF overall consensus. You can see here with the spaghetti plots, kind of shows that drifting towards the north and west towards Taiwan. But there is a little bit even diverification in here. You can see some of the ensembles kind of kicking off towards the north. GFS is a much bigger split, and that's what I mean by there's still a lot of uncertainty, which tends to be the case as well with these big monsoonal gyre type setups where you just have a lot of unorganized cloud cover merged in with the monsoon, which just brings a lot of rain on most scenarios like we're seeing now. We have two, not named, we have two storm systems out there which are not impressive, but there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, so a lot of that energy just gets spread out over a wide area. So if you look at the low level center of these tracks I was just showing you, that has nothing to do with the general bulk impacts from this storm, which I think are still going to be the heaviest, the worst on all three of these just combined is going to be for our friends out here in the west coast of the Philippines. So boy, lots happening, lots to talk about here in the Western Pacific today. If you have any questions or you want to know more specifically about your area, I would love to hear from you. I'll try to include it in the next update. But of course, I can't stress enough. Make sure, number one thing is stay safe out there, friends. Know that I'm not an official agency, never claimed to be. But if you want more information, trying to break down these storm systems and that long range forecast, I would love to hear from you. One more thing, and I haven't really mentioned it here in this. See that? Oops, let's go back to the satellite picture. See this area right here, north and east of Luzon, east and southeast of Okinawa, that's broad circulation. A lot of people probably keyed in on that. That's actually an upper level low, which is kind of interesting because that provides a lot of shear and dry air. Even though it is a low pressure area, it rips things apart. So not worried about something forming up there. I would be more worried about just south and east of that. And if that dissipates and this gets away from the shear, that's where you would have that highest chance of tropical development with Invest 97W. All right. Stay safe out there, friends. And as always, thanks for watching.